Okay, so Wolves play Chelsea this weekend on Sunday. It's actually my birthday weekend, so I'm sure Wolves will find some way to screw it up. But no, in a game it probably feels a bit easier than it probably would have a few weeks ago. You know, everyone looked at Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea in 4 games and thought we are going to lose. Obviously, they were all on really good form back then. But and look, Chelsea are obviously still a great side. They're third in the league. They're above us in the league. But I think it's pretty clear that they're not as good as Man City and Liverpool. Obviously, they're better than Arsenal, Man United. As they're clearly the third best side in the Premier League, but I don't think they're anywhere near Man City and Liverpool personally. I think points dictate that as well. You know, if you look at goal difference, they're actually kind of similar. But if you look at expected goal difference, but and look, I'm not saying Chelsea are a bad side, but I think they have overperformed a little bit. They've got a bit lucky. They're still the third best side, but they've got a bit lucky. And I've just finished watching their game versus Everton, and God, they were awful in that game. They've got a lot of COVID stuff. This game might not even happen. Obviously, who knows? Chelsea could get it postponed. I really hope they don't. I think this is a really good time to play Chelsea. Um, the lineup's interesting for this one because obviously after a win, Bruno Lage hasn't really, off the top of my head anyway, he never really seems to change the lineup. But there's a lot of question marks over what the lineup would be. This is the lineup I'd personally go with. Obviously, the back three's been brilliant all season. They're going to stay the same as Smith and Jose Sarr. Look, I don't like Marcel as much as I like René Nuri, but we seem to win more with Marcel. It's weird. Like it feels like René Nuri never lets us down, but he's always on the losing side. Whereas we always seem to get results with Marcel. It's weird. Plus, I don't really want to risk Nuri. You know, we've got a lot of fixtures coming up, and you know he had to come up in the warm up. I don't think that's a coincidence, given that he had to come off against Liverpool as well. I just wouldn't risk him. Like I wouldn't. And Chelsea are a good side, and I don't really think we need his attacking outlet as much as we would have against Brighton. So might as well just give Marcel a game. Why not? He's at the spot. I thought he was good against Brighton. Keep it. Um, Dendonka probably does deserve a game, and Chelsea are really good in the air. But I'd still keep Neves and Coutinho. I just don't trust Dendonka. I think he's very limited. And the front three is probably the most interesting position, right? Because obviously Jimenez missed the game. I thought the front three was the best it looked in honestly in months, bar maybe that West Ham game. And that I'm not blaming Raul Jimenez for that, by the way. I'm not saying as soon as he's dropped out, we're automatically good, but we actually had shots. I'm not saying they were good shots, but we actually had shots. You know, it kind of felt like the first few games of the season. Um, and obviously Huang's technically started the game, but Adama came on and kind of played centrally. I don't like Adama centrally, but again, kind of similar to the Marcel thing, we won the game. So I don't really see what the point in changing it is. You know, I think Daniel Pence is a guaranteed starter. I thought his finishing was poor, and I think if Trincao finished the way Pedence did, Pedence would have got a lot more stick. I don't really get why. It's weird with Trincao. He got a lot of criticism on Twitter after the game. I'm not saying he was great, but I thought he was fine, especially in the second half. I thought he was pretty good. I thought Adama had his best all-round performance of the season against Brighton. Should have got 2 assists. And I think it'd be very unfair to drop him in this game. Plus, with Chelsea's back three, I don't think you need an actual number 9 against a back three. You know, that's an out-and-out front three running at 3 defenders. Plus, Marcus Alonso is really slow, and we all know Marcus Alonso is rubbish. I'd like to see one of Adama, Trincao, Potence getting a run at him. So, and plus, you've always got the option of Jimenez coming off the bench if it's going wrong. So, that's the front three I'd personally like to see. I wouldn't mind if Raul Jimenez came in, but this feels like a winnable game. And if and Chelsea don't score many goals anyway, so even if worst case scenario happens, we go in 1-0 down at half time, there's still a point to win, even if you bring on Jimenez anyway. So that'd be the lineup I'd go with from Wolves' point of view. But this is a winnable game. This isn't like the Man City or the Liverpool game where I kind of felt like it was a free hit. This isn't. You know, Chelsea got a lot of injuries. Their front line looks a bit misfiring. Their midfield, you know, when you see Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Ross Barkley getting regular minutes, I wouldn't have them anywhere near our midfield personally. So this feels like a very winnable game. Obviously, you know, Chelsea one of the more ball dominant sides in the league. Not as good as City and Liverpool, but they're still a side that have a lot of possession. But I think Wolves have dealt with that pretty well a lot of the time this season. You know, Brighton had more of the ball for large periods of that game. I think we dealt with it pretty well, and I think we're good on the break, so I don't think that should be a big concern for us. Obviously, Chelsea have a lot of shots, but they don't have as much shots as like City or Liverpool. And this is the thing. Chelsea are they're third in like every metric. Like they're a great side, but they're not an elite side. And they don't get a lot of those shots on target. The one thing that does concern me is Chelsea have had by far the most penalties this season. So, you know, I'm sure VAR will find some way to screw us over. Also, Chelsea are actually the worst side in the league at actually tackling dribblers, which is another reason why I'd maybe play that that kind of out and out front three. Not that Jimenez can't dribble, he can. He's actually pretty good for a 6'4" striker at that. But Chelsea, the worst side of the league at tackling dribblers in one-on-ones. That might be because of their formation and they're quite, they're high up in the league. But they're lower than Man City and Liverpool in that metric. So why not put loads of dribblers up front and see if they can handle it? Because by the stats, they clearly can't do it as well as a lot of other sides. And Chelsea don't really press as well. That's not really surprising. Like, I've never really watched Chelsea and thought they're a good pressing side. They're actually kind of similar to Brighton, the fact that they have a middling amount of pressures, but in terms of successful ones, they're actually quite high. They're second in the league. But I thought we handled Brighton's press pretty well. So why can't we handle Chelsea's? And obviously in the air, they're dominant. They're a lot better than us, which is maybe a reason you could maybe bring in Dendoncker. But I think having Dendoncker's aerial ability is not as useful as having Moutinho's on the ball ability. Maybe that's an argument to why to bring in Raul. Raul's good at defending set pieces and Chelsea good in the air. Maybe that's an argument. But I'm one of those people that if you win a game, you shouldn't drop someone. And I keep Marcel and Adama in there. This is a winnable game. Keep an 11. Keep it consistent. There's been enough rest time between the two games. And Chelsea have enough issues. And I think we can win this game. I don't think we will. I think it'll probably be a boring 1-1 or 0-0. But I think everyone would take that. Especially going into that Watford game on Boxing Day. Again, assuming this game happens. But yeah, I'm pretty confident. Chelsea are beatable. We've played pretty well recently defensively. Chelsea's front line's misfiring, and you can get at their defence, especially Marcus Alonso. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video. There'll obviously be a video after the game. So yeah, subscribe to the channel. Peace.